If the Garden of Eden was to be located today, where would it be? No one is sure of its whereabouts. For those of you who aren't religious or unfamiliar with Adam and Eve's story, the Garden of Eden was the first home of humans, according to Genesis 2 in the Bible. It is said to be a paradise where everything is perfect. There was no disease, no death, and no hunger. So in this video, we are going to talk about the terrifying discovery of the Garden of Eden that will blow your mind. The video is going to be amazing, so make sure you stick to the end. The Garden of Eden, also referred to as paradise, is the biblical garden of God, described in the book of Genesis about the creation of man. The narrative surrounds the apparent first man and woman, Adam and Eve, placed in the garden to guard the tree of life, before being tempted by a serpent to eat from a forbidden tree, a move that saw them expelled. It's no secret that man has been searching for the Garden of Eden ever since he was banished from it. Its discovery would verify the story of creation and provide a convincing testimony that the events in the Bible occurred. Fortunately, many people believe it's still somewhere waiting to be found. The worldwide catastrophic flood of Noah's day would have destroyed the surface of the earth. If most of the sedimentary strata over the Earth's surface is the result of this global catastrophe, as creationists believe, then we would have no idea where the Garden of Eden was originally located. The Earth's surface totally changed as a result of the flood. Not only this, but underneath the region where the present Tigris and Euphrates rivers are located, there exists hundreds of feet of sedimentary strata, a significant amount of which is fossiliferous. Such fossil-bearing strata had to be laid down at the time of the flood. Therefore, no one can logically suggest that the area where the present Tigris and Euphrates rivers are today is the location of the Garden of Eden, for this area is sitting on flood strata containing billions of dead things, fossils. The perfect Garden of Eden can't be sitting on billions of dead things before sin entered the world. But it is clear from the Bible that the Garden of Eden has an exact location, and it is not just a mythical location. The location is associated with 4 rivers that are mentioned in the biblical text. These are Euphrates, Tigris, Hiddekel, Pison, and Gihon. The Tigris and Euphrates are 2 well-known rivers that still flow through Iraq today. In the Bible, they are said to have flowed through Assyria, namely today's Iraq. Before we move on, support us by hitting subscribe and the bell icon to get notified when we post new videos. Now let's get back to our topic. The exact location of Gihon and Pison is unknown. The likelihood that geologists could see any evidence of Eden, even if it still existed around Moses' time, 1,500 years after the flood, it's impossible to find that evidence now. If a flood of biblical proportions swept through the earth, Eden would most likely be pushed down towards the mantle if it weren't immediately wiped away by the waters. This would cause it to exist somewhere in the subduction zone on the northeast side of the Arabian Plate. Unfortunately, the subduction zone is hidden under 3 miles of mud and sediment deposited by a massive geologic event. Others believe the Garden of Eden is in Africa. It is the birthplace of humanity. If you look at a world map, Africa is situated in the east. There is a scientific approach to this theory. Scientists have discovered that all humans share a common ancestry with people who lived in Africa between 150,000 and 200,000 years ago. According to their research, Botswana is the most likely location of the garden and where humans originated. Eden sat in the Kalahari Desert, which used to be a wetland where the early humans lived. During this time, Lake Magadi stretched from Namibia, Botswana, and Zimbabwe. The lake started to break up, creating wetlands, and humans lived here until climate conditions forced them to populate other parts of the climate. In the past, scientists believed that humans developed in areas all over the continent. Scientists analyzed DNA from people in Namibia and South Africa to prove their theories, focusing their efforts on the L0 lineage. This lineage is the earliest known marker of the human population. All DNA isn't the same, so researchers couldn't focus on nuclear DNA as it comes from both parents. They had to narrow their focus to mitochondrial DNA. Mitochondrial DNA comes from the mother and doesn't undergo recombination, meaning that it stays the same throughout many generations. So, this is the best DNA for scientists to use when determining maternal ancestry. Professor Vanessa Hayes of Sydney University performed this study with her colleagues and was finally able to determine the exact location of our early ancestors. She also mentions that there seems to be a migration of sorts, where the population is split off into 3 groups. One group traveled in a northeast direction, a second group traveled in a southwest direction, and the third group remained in the homeland until today. Unfortunately, Adam and Eve were banned from the garden after they disobeyed God's orders not to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Since then, humans have been living in a fallen state, subject to all the world's ills. Groundbreaking research has given scientists a better understanding of the Garden of Eden and where we can find it. There are many theories about the location of the Garden of Eden. It's safe to say that Africa is the most likely place. Maybe one day we'll find it. While some aspire to believe the evidence presented by science, others believe God can only know the location of the Garden of Eden. Archaeologist Jode Magnus revealed during Morgan Freeman's documentary. The story of God, how a discovery in a church in Jerusalem led her to believe she has the answer. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is located in the Old City and is believed to be the site where Jesus of Nazareth was crucified and later resurrected, in a place known as Calvary or Golgotha. Dr. Magnus revealed how this was also the apparent burial place for Adam. She said in 2017, "The clue comes from underneath the rock of Golgotha, the rocky outcrop on which Christians believe Jesus was crucified. Below is the Chapel of Adam, and there is a tradition that goes way back in Christianity that connects this spot to Adam, the first man. When Jesus was crucified on top of the rock above us, his blood flowed down through a crack in the rock, and Adam, the first man, lay buried underneath, but when Jesus' blood flowed onto him, he was resurrected." However, Dr. Magnus detailed how this may actually support a theory she has. She added, "Well, the version of the story that ended up in the book of Genesis seems to place the Garden of Eden somewhere in Mesopotamia. But I think Adam had a very special connection with Jerusalem. The Garden of Eden, or paradise, becomes conceptualized as the spot where the presence of God dwells. In early Judaism and the time of Jesus, the presence of God dwelled in the temple, and hence why Jerusalem was conceived of as Eden at that time. Dr. Magnus was asked if she believed the Garden of Eden is actually a metaphor for the beginning of life, and is, in fact, wherever God's presence is. She responded, "Well, yes, of course. Adam was the first human, and in Hebrew, the word Adam means man. Also, if you take off the you are left with dam. In Hebrew, that means blood, and if you add to the end, Adama means land." We could say that the Garden of Eden existed at one time, but it cannot be located today due to the fall of humanity into sin, as well as the great flood that altered the earth. Also, it does not appear anywhere in the Bible that there are structures in the garden, but at the same time, it seems that the fencing of the Garden of Eden by the 4 rivers was known. Of course, in order for the existence of the garden to make sense, and we must consider that what is said in the Bible is true and not just a legend. So that's it. Please like, share, and comment your thoughts below if you liked this video. Remember to subscribe to see our next video. Stay safe, and we will be back soon with another video.